steals the bag. He steals home.
Kurt Wilson. Pitch to Parker Kelly. Is a grand slam. There is no way Milankovich is bringing that one.
What's going on, everybody? We're back with the Ballplayer Perspective. I'm Parker Kelly alongside Kurt Wilson, and today we're going to be talking about summer baseball and what that schedule should look like as you go through summer and navigate all the different activities that you or your kid may have. And so, Kurt, what would you say is just very important to focus on and put your attention to as you go through summer baseball from a scheduling and kind of a ideal week standpoint?
Yeah, from a scheduling standpoint, I can see how it can be really tough to be able to focus on baseball, try to do vacationing, try to get your workouts in, a little bit of everything right there. So, yeah, for me, I think it's more important to kind of focus a little bit on baseball, but also still have fun. If depending on your age level, I think there's a little bit adjustment from an 8-year-old versus a 16-year-old. I think an 8-year-old is going to focus a little bit more on being at the beach, having a little bit more fun, but also still, getting those reps, mental reps, of making their game better. But as a 16-year-old, I think you're talking, maybe getting closer to recruiting. So maybe you need to be in the cages a little bit more than an 8-year-old, or a little bit more mental reps. So I kind of think it varies from age group. So that's kind of why we're going to talk about this. But yeah, what's your thoughts, Parker?
Yeah, I think you got a good point as far as vacation and I always like to tell kids go do something that you love, get away from the game a little bit. But it's actually when I look back, I didn't take much time off as far as a weekend and tournament standpoint. It was every weekend. When summer hit, it was every weekend, and so there wasn't really a weekend off. And I'm kind of thinking back right now, it's I don't know if I would take a lot of weekends off because that's a weekend that you're losing to get in front of a scout, right? Or get seen by a college or a different scout. You never know who's going to be there. And so as far as taking a vacation, it's really hard, right? And so it's finding that balance of what do you really want and what do you prioritize most? If it is the beach and you don't think that this tournament is going to be a success or anything like that, or you're okay with missing out on an opportunity, then that's fine. Go to the beach, right? But as I look back, it's each opportunity is vital because you never know who's going to be there. You never know what coach is going to be there. You never know what recruiting is going to be there or a different coach that could relay your name. And so it's definitely a very difficult thing to manage as far as, vacation like you talked about in tournament baseball, right? Obviously the age matters, but I think when you're in what you're talking about, that 16 prime age, that's a prime time to get recruited. And so, all these coaches, they're going every weekend in summer. They don't miss a weekend, right? They don't get the vacation that they want in summer. And so they're there every weekend. So it's kind of important that you show up every weekend as far as a team standpoint. And so, Kurt, what would you say? I know it's just summer can be a difficult time, whether you're playing a different sport as far as football. You obviously have different things that you want to do from a activity standpoint with friends and things like that. So what would you encourage athletes to maybe focus on during their weeks as they lead up to a Saturday, Sunday tournament and trying to give themselves the best chance to get recruited? What would you say as far as that, as far as preparing themselves?
Yeah, I think it comes back to kind of what we've been taught at Texas Tech was just get 1% better every single day. Obviously, you can't be the best version of yourself overnight, right? You got to get better every single day. If that's mentally, if that's physically, it does not matter. You have to continue to get better every day, and all the reps that you put in will come and show up on the field on Saturday or Sunday. So I think that would be my biggest piece of advice is you got to figure out, how can I get better today? How can I get better tomorrow? And you just do that over and over and over again, and the field will take care of itself in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, that's such a cliche saying, but it's true. It's just get 1% better. And when you talk about 1%, it's if you actually break that down from a number standpoint, that it's less than 15 minutes a day right, as far as 1% of your day. And so what are you doing with, I think it's 14 minutes, 24 seconds. What are you doing with that 14 minutes, 24 seconds to give yourself the best chance for success? And we're not talking about like, okay, going to hit in the cages for 14 minutes, going to play catch for 14 minutes. Why? Because everybody else is doing that. So like, what is that 14 minutes that you're going to do differently that maybe separates you, that gets you better than your competition, right? Because, as we know with like NIL, college, the length of players that are staying there in college longer just due to NIL, like it is a very competitive market. I think back, I'm like, I don't even know what my college career would look like or what school I would even go to if the NIL and like, the craziness of it all was like it is now. And so it's like, what are you going to do that separates you from a 1% better standpoint? I like how you touched on that. And so, like when we talk about that, like obviously we've hit on the mental side of it and things like that. And, doing something 1% each day is definitely vital as you go through the process and just navigating that and the extracurricular activities that you do throughout the day.
Yeah, 100%. I think kind of touching back to what we were talking about, like scheduling wise through the summer, for me, I would look at like, let's just break it down for a week standpoint. I would say like Monday, you need to be in the weight room, getting single but better, maybe doing some type of mental work if that's, getting better mentally, if it's getting better like situational awareness, that may be your Monday. Tuesday, it may be as simple as, getting in the cages, getting the arm loose, doing some bands. Wednesday, maybe there's a little bit rehab, therapy, working on your shoulder, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Thursday, I'm kind of getting long here, but Thursday, let's say Thursday is the same thing, hitting lessons, cages, whatever, just getting better at the game. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're probably getting ready for games, So there you go. There's a full week of, what you need to do of scheduling. If you do that over and over and over again, you're going to get better at the game of baseball. It just happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. It's like scheduling. It's so important. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do on a week in, week out basis, a day in, day out basis, because now I don't have to guess at like what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then leads up to the Saturday, Sunday games. And so it's allowing you to play offense with your day instead of like defense. Okay, like what's next? Do I go to the cage? Do I go work out? It's like, no, you already know exactly what you're going to do. And I think you had a good point on scheduling that out and having a plan and sticking to it, right? Because I think that, like, you really can't take many days off in baseball. Like, one day a week, go for it. But, like, when you're playing every single day of the weekend, like, you've got to be prepared for that from a physical standpoint. And so, when we talk about the mental standpoint, like, I when I coach the mental game, I ask kids for, 15 minutes of their day. Like, 15 minutes, invest in 15 minutes to the mental game, and that's it, right? Whether it's a journal, podcast, reading a book, whatever it may be, meditation, mental imagery, whatever it may be, just invest a little bit, right? Because why? You're doing something different that none of your competition is doing. Like, you are actually getting 1% better, right? There's only a select handful of kids that are actually doing those things that between the ears that get you better. And so you're already separating yourself with just 15 minutes a day, right? And we scroll on our phones for hours a day, right? And so if you can't carve out 15 minutes just to invest on the mental game, then you really don't want it that bad, right? And you've got to be able to, tell kids no, right? Like, we don't get spring breaks. We don't even get summers really, right? So you've got to be able to say no to things throughout the summer to get what you really want in the end, if that is college baseball or professional baseball.
Yeah, dude, that's a good point because, looking back at it, these kids, they get on social media and act like they truly want it, like they want to put the effort in. And then you look at them and you say, okay, well, are you really trying to get better whenever you can't take the mental side of baseball seriously and focus on how can I get better mentally and physically? Of course, physically, like that's what actually happens on the field, right? You got to be able to do both, though. So if you're not willing to be able to do the mental side of baseball, then you're not a true competitor and athlete because you're not getting to your 100% like performance.
Right. And it's like a lot of times, when I talk to kids or speak with them, it's like, well, why didn't you do these things? Well, I just didn't have time. Like, you didn't have time. I know for a fact, like I just talked about, you scroll on your phone for hours, and I think I'm guilty of that. You're guilty of that. Everybody's guilty of that. That's just the world we live in, right? But again, it kind of breaks it down to priorities and, like, what do you really want, right? Because there'll be many times of, like, in the summer when like I love going to the lake and hanging out, right? I didn't get to go to the lake and hang out or whatever that may be. And so it's like you have to tell friends no, you have to tell family no, and it's just like, okay, what do you want? And that's, that's playing summer baseball, that's going to a tournament and exposing myself to these other coaches, because that's what I really want to chase at the end, right? Again, we've talked about baseball's not everything, but if it's something, a dream and a passion that you have and you want to chase it, go all in on it, right? You can't just be on the fence going 50-50 behind it. And so you just got to, have the priority and what do you want, right? And again, what are you doing that separates you? If it's just hitting in the cages and taking ground balls, you're just banking on your talent alone, and that's not going to get you that far. It'll get you far, but at some point it'll catch up to you.
Yeah, that's right. And so I guess we've kind of talked about it from an athlete standpoint of what they need to look like. For a parent, what does a parent need to do, to help get their kid to the next level or to that college level, or even, then get drafted out of high school? But what does a parent need to do? Because I know my parents, they tried to do anything and everything they could to help me. Like if that's getting me to showcases, if that's, trying to get in relationships to build for college coaches, camps, whatever, you name it. They tried everything in their power to get me to the next level. And obviously it worked out, but what advice could we give these parents to, help their kid that's on the fence of, maybe getting to that next level, maybe has the talent, but isn't getting seen?
Right. It's such a hard question to answer because, one, we're not parents like we've talked about before. True. And it's like, two, kids don't, parents always say like they won't listen to me, right? Whether it's like a swing change, mental stance, whatever it may be, like kids don't listen to their parents. They think that they're full of it or they don't know what they're talking about. And so that's when usually insert a hitting coach to help, the kid hit or whatever the case may be, strength and conditioning. And so it really is a fine line of like how to navigate that from a parent standpoint. In just my, outside looking in. And it's like, to balance the schedule of like not pushing too much to where you burn them out, but also not sitting back too much to where they're just doing whatever they want, right? And so, if I had any advice or, something just to look for is like, obviously, like you said, present them with every opportunity. Just like, you talked about your parents traveling. My parents did the same thing, traveling, showcases, emails, whatever it may be. They helped me with everything and it helped. And so it's like, okay, do that, but then like gauge it. Where are they at? What do they really want? Do they even want to play summer baseball, or do you want them to play summer baseball? Right? And it's like, okay, break that down. Okay, what does that look like? And then if they really want to play summer baseball, then again, give them every opportunity. If you have the means to do that, right? Give them every opportunity as far as traveling, coaches, and things like that to give them the best chance for that success and stay on them a little bit, right? Accountability. Accountability partners are great, right? We've talked about it, accountability from this podcast, right? Like there's been times that we've fallen off and it's like, hey, we got to get back on, and it's good because I don't want to let you down. You don't want to let me down. So that's accountability when you don't want to let somebody down. And so finding those accountability partners for your kid to give them what they want. And if that's summer baseball, to go play college baseball one day, then you've got to stay on them a little bit, but you've got to be careful of not overdoing it if they don't really want it, right? If they don't really want it, you've got to kind of back off and just let them be and kind of let them figure it out themselves, like who they want to be, what they want to be, and what they want to become, if that kind of makes sense. What is your takes? It's a really hard question to kind of navigate, and I think each kid is different. Like there's not like a blanket deal of you have to do this or that. So what would you say?
Man, it's tough because it's kind of like what you talked about is like you don't want to push too hard because then you burn them out. And then again, it's also like you got to push them enough to get them to that next level. So it's like it's a very fine line that they're walking on as a parent. But I think the best thing you could do is, learn the game as well. Parents sometimes they think they know everything and they truly don't have the right answers. And so they just sit there and say things that are actually hurting the kid versus, getting some instruction from somebody else that actually knows the game and can understand it and can help benefit from it. Then they can learn it and then give it to their kid. I think it really comes back to learning and building relationships. Obviously, the relationships is going to be able to get your kid to that next level, to be able to say, hey, I know so-and-so who knows this recruiter who knows. I think that is the real reality of how you get recruited. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, social media is great. I think coaches come to see great athletes play. It's really hard to get noticed anymore because a lot of people playing select baseball. It's tough as a parent. I get it. I 100% get it. And I can see definitely how competitive with NIL and all this stuff is in the future and money. It would be hard. And I know we're going to have to go through it hopefully someday in the future, but it's going to be tough. But yeah, I would say that's pretty much my answer is build relationships, learn the game, get better as well, and don't just expect your kid to get 1% better. You have to get better as well while you're going through the whole process.
Yeah, and I think you have a good point is like learn the game. And like as a parent, just like never stop learning, whether that's, trying to learn as much as you can through the recruiting process, the game of baseball or whatever, like knowing people, whatever it may be to, again, give your kid the best chance for success. Because, when I coach the mental game, I have a lot of parents like ask me as far as like the recruiting process, teams, showcases and what that looks like because I've been through it. And that's kind of what sparked the idea of this podcast is like trying to shine some light on those areas of the game where it's a big question mark. Because like I know when I went through it, and I think when you went through it, it's like a big question mark of like, okay, what's the best? Is it emails? Is it showcases? Is it tournaments? And where should I put my time and energy? And so, I'll get kids and parents that ask me of like, hey, their coach is telling them that, they probably won't go Division I because they don't have any videos to send the coaches. And I was like, it really rubbed me the wrong way of like this coach is already tearing down the kid of not going to play Division I baseball. And again, if you don't go play Division I baseball, there's been plenty of Division II, III, NAIA, JUCO players that have made great careers, right? And I don't think JUCO is bad because you get 2 years there and 4 years at college or at a Division I. And so it's like, okay, this coach is already shooting down the opportunity of a Division I program because there's no video. It's like, that's kind of an interesting standpoint. It's like, okay, video is great. Like it gives you the idea of, okay, what this kid can do. But at the end of the day, a video doesn't show the competitiveness. It doesn't show the body language. It doesn't show the self-talk, how good of a teammate he is. It doesn't show any of that. And so a lot of times that's what matters. And, as far as like a coach already shutting down a kid is very not the right way to go. And so again, that's like kind of learning, okay, that in like as a parent, it's like, that doesn't seem right. Maybe we need to go a different route. Maybe we need to go find a different team. Maybe we need to address the coach or whatever it may be because, again, he should be there to support and give him the best chance for success as far as, like, him, the coach, talking to colleges and things like that and exposing the kids on his team. And so I just thought that was very wrong. But it's learning the game as a parent, learning the, process and never just stop growing and to, okay, when that situation arises, it may be time to go find a different place to play.
Yeah, dude, that's a good point because if you really think about it, like if you're a parent and you're watching and you understand the game and you're watching a coach, do something that's actually making your player get worse because it can happen. I mean, it's happened to me personally that I've been told something from a coach and then I, listen to that and my game just would go tremendously worse because I didn't have the confidence in what I already knew because I'm like, oh, this coach has to know more than me, right? I don't think that's good as a player because you should be listening to your coach. You should want to play for somebody that knows more than you and, is wanting to get you better and is getting you better. But it's a fine line because sometimes these coaches, they're just volunteer dads, which is great, but they also don't understand the game real well. And so they're just kind of doing what best they can, and sometimes it's not the right information. So it's a fine line to walk with the parent. Like I said, we haven't done it, but I know it's going to be a tough road when we do it. But if you're a parent out there, good luck.
Yeah, that's a good point that you have. Is like far as like, okay, this coach has to know more than me. Right. And just like when I was playing, I never really put much attention to it because I just, it was just the norm. But like as I've coached and kind of like learned and grown, like coaches have great power, right? Like they are very powerful as far as like what they say to kids and the amount that a kid receives, right? Because again, the kid's like, okay, this is a older individual that has been through it and has to know more than me. Well, you've got to be careful because sometimes that information, like you said, can be false, not the best information. And, that's kind of where it comes to as far as a parent and a kid, knowing the game, knowing the recruiting process, knowing as much as you can and just never stop evolving because I was the same way, right? If a coach, told me to do something as far as hitting, fielding, I listened, right? Because I was like, okay, they have to know what they're talking about. Well, when I look back, I'm like, well, that probably wasn't the best swing change. That probably wasn't the best idea. And so I've learned that coaches have very great power. So if you're a coach listening to this, if you're a parent that coaches, or just parents in general, have tremendous power as far as what the words come out of your mouth a kid listens to, and they apply it 10 times to what you say.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to kind of go a little bit different route here. I believe, this is a little off topic for sure, but I believe if you were, you give me two babies, they just born babies, right? There's no such thing as I think there is God-given talent. I do believe in that. But I think if you give this baby and it's sitting here trying and it's learning the game of baseball and it's doing what it needs to do every single day, and it's going to continue to get better and better and better. And this one just is it's got talent, but at the same sense, it's just, here and there, here and there. No matter what, this baby that's doing everything right and doing the thing is going to be the better baseball player consistently. You cannot convince me otherwise. So why would you not do that as a player now, is getting better every single day and outworking the people? Because reps is going to make you better. This fantasy, I thought I was the God-given talent. I thought I could, not focus as much on, baseball every day. I could play other sports, all this stuff, which you can, and it's good to be an athlete. But I'm saying I was that guy. I know it's a little different. What do you think about that? Can God give it? Everybody says that hard work beats, talent when talent doesn't work. Well, tell me your thoughts of it.
Yeah, I think, the God-given talent, there's definitely God-given talent, right? You come to a point okay, this guy's just blessed, right?
Yeah.
If you worked as hard as you could, you may not ever get to Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and guys like that, right? That's just freak talents. But the majority of the time, you have these God-given talents, and it's okay, what do you do with those? Or you may not have those, and so you can work to that. But again, like you said, it eventually catches up to you. At one point, you thought that you could, I can just hang here, I can go take this off, and I'll just show up and play. And that got you pretty far until you started realizing, hey, it's kind of catching up to me. I've got to change something. I've got to do something different. So eventually, whether it's a freshman in high school, freshman in college, senior in college, eventually the game catches up to you, right? And so you just got to, why give yourself the chance to slack off and not be the best version of yourself, right?
That's right.
I kind of hit it back as when you said working hard and, he's not going to outwork me, right? And it's when I started to work in the mental game, right, Brian Cain, asked me what my thought of conviction was. And I was I don't know, what does that even mean, right? And so I finally just came down to it, and I was you know what? I'm not going to be okay with, this check swinging anymore, you saw it, check swinging and things like that, taking stuff down the middle. No, I'm going to go down swinging and everything I've got, right? And then, as you can see, I struck out a lot, swinging, chasing sliders. But, hey, I was more okay with that because if I did get the right pitch, it was going to go, in the gap, double, hopefully, something like that, right? And so it's kind of just going at it with everything you have, whether it's, conviction. What is it? Is it in the weight room, mental game, in the game, swinging, not swinging, whatever it may be? And I think that, you've got to go at it with everything that you have and then just be okay with, hey, my work ethic, my God-given talents got me this far, and that's as far as it got me. But, hey, I can live with that because I gave it everything I had and literally gave it everything I had, not just saying that. But, I went down swinging. I went down doing everything, and this is as far as it got me. Hey, that was just the plan that the Lord had for you. So it's not for everybody. And so that's kind of my thoughts on it is, take it as far as the game will let you go and be okay with, hey, when you hang up the cleats, looking back, did I do everything I wanted to do? Yes? Okay. Now you can live. You can live with peace in that.
Yeah, dude. That's a good point because it's hard when you're done with baseball, when it's all said and done and you hang up them cleats, it's hard to look back and be did I give it my all? Because, I know there's times where I'm man, I could have been a little better here. I could have been a little better there. I should have tried a little harder over here. It's it starts to eat at you when you get older because you're the what if, what could have been, right? And so why even have to worry about that if you know you're getting better, 100% better every single day? that thought doesn't go through your mind when you're when you're older. It just doesn't. So, yeah, I mean, you got any last advice before we kind of get out of here? I know we talked a little bit about everything, summer ball, NIL, you name it, babies, which one's going to be better? I mean, we kind of got into it all here. So, but yeah, you got any last things about? I guess one more question is, what advice would you give somebody that's looking to get to the next level in summer right now? Maybe they're getting some recruitments, maybe they're not. What advice would you give them? And then we'll shut it down.
Just keep showing up, right? Keep showing up. Like, again, if you're okay with what you're doing and you feel conviction behind it, and you feel like you genuinely feel like Monday through Friday, I'm doing everything I can to give me the best chance on Saturday and Sunday, and you're still not getting recruited, keep showing up, right? Keep showing up, keep doing the work, because you can be okay with not getting recruited. When it's all said and done, there's no what ifs, just like you talked about. There's no what ifs. There's no what if I did this in the weight room? What if I invested in the mental game? Don't look back and say what if. Just be okay with the conviction that you have. And so if you're doing all that and you're not getting the results, just keep showing up, because it's going to come, right? I always say your process is working perfectly for the results that you're getting. So I think that if you have a good process, you're going to get good results. But if you have a crappy process, you're probably going to get crappy results. So if you're not getting the results you want, look back at your process and then tell me what that looks like. So that's kind of my advice on that. You got anything on it?
No, man. I just think get better every single day, and all the other stuff will take care of itself, man. But that's about it for us. See ya.
Peace.